Welcome to another episode of Connected with Kelly. And today we are talking with Matthew Ramsey. You know him from Old Dominion, one of my favorite bands. So we talked about what has been happening during quarantine. Guess what? They have a new album coming out, and they recorded it outside of Nashville. It was like band camp for all the guys. We're going to get the scoop on that. Also talking about Grammy nominations. They've now been nominated for 2 Grammys. And Matthew tells me more about the song that changed his outlook on 2020 and even his life. We'll get more details right now. Let's get connected with Matthew Ramsey. Matthew Ramsey, how are you? What's been going on, man?
I'm good. Just hanging in there like everybody else.
I mean, no, physically, where are you? Are you home right now?
I am in Nashville. I'm a little north of Nashville right now. We have a little cabin up here that I come up and ride in sometimes.
So you hide out and you ride in a cabin. This is becoming a theme for you guys, I hear. You took a little trip. Tell me about what happened in Asheville.
We took a little trip to Asheville, North Carolina. It's something that we talked about doing for our whole career, to spend a little extra time somewhere outside of Nashville, away from distractions, where we could really kind of focus on our music and see what comes out of it. And so with all the touring being shut down, it was the perfect year to go experiment a little. So yeah, we took a little 3-week trip out there and hung out and lived in a little house and wrote songs every day and recorded every day and ended up making an album. So it was really exciting.
Was it like summer camp?
It was band camp, one time at band camp.
This is what I picture. Everybody is sitting around, everybody's having a good time, and Whit is like doing his thing off to himself, and then he'll come in and say something profound, and everybody just stops and looks at him and goes, yeah, you're right.
It's funny, like a lot of the songs that we wrote, they were joke titles for a long time, and they were Whit's jokes. Like he's got a specific sense of humor, and he would come in and like throw out one of these joke titles, and we'd be like, that's actually a good idea, man. And he'd be like, no, it's not. And we'd be like, yeah, it is. And we would write this song. So yeah, you're not far off there.
See, this is how I picture the group dynamic happening when you guys are all together in a cabin. Did you realize that you were writing an album, or was it just like it happened?
We had this kind of idea that if we went out there and we got like a start, if we got like 3 or 4 songs, that would be cool. Just we didn't want to put that kind of whole album pressure on ourselves. And we had a couple of songs that we had written, beforehand that we really loved, but we kind of had those in the back of our minds in case we got stuck or weren't writing anything good. We would record those. But I think just because we had been shut down for so long and hadn't seen each other in a while, we got there and immediately started writing and didn't even think about those other songs. And we just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And it was awesome. I can't wait for you to hear it.
It's totally a different dynamic too when you're out of town, right? I mean, like I've talked to several of friends that have said when we go out of town, it's like all the normal everyday stuff you're not worrying about. You're not worrying about people working on your roof while you're writing a song. Like you're in your own world and you're there for that reason.
Yeah, we would just get up, have breakfast, and start making music. And before we knew it, it was, midnight. And then we'd be like, oh, well, I guess we should go to bed.
Who's the chef? Who was cooking the entire time?
We had one of our crew members, actually. Her name's Kelsey. She takes care of us out on the road. And she had, I guess, during the lockdown, had taken cooking classes. She had been learning how to cook. And she was like, hey, I'll come out there and cook for you guys. Of course, we paid her. But man, it was awesome. We had these big family style dinners every night, and it was so cool. She was in there cooking every day.
Had you guys seen each other like during quarantine before you decided to take the road trip and do the thing?
Not much. And we still haven't over the past year really seen each other. I mean, a handful of times, it's like, we'll have to get together to film something for, we just did Fallon. So, it's like things like that will come up. but not really. We hadn't really hung out much.
How weird was that?
It's super weird. I mean, we spent, I guess, 7, 8 years, most every day together. And then all of a sudden, we just not seeing each other. So for a minute there, it was really hard to like get things done. To like, it's like normally issues that would come up as a band would get resolved on the road just because we're all together. But now it's like, oh, we got to have a Zoom meeting. Like, so it was just like, it's terrible.
Do you do any writes over Zoom? Or are you guys writing it all over Zoom? Because I can't, like, the magic of being in the room with somebody is so, you can't put your finger on it, but there's an energy, there's a feeling. You're talking to somebody, you're around somebody, totally. Especially when you're writing. How do you even start to replicate that when you're doing it over Zoom?
I don't. I think there's a lot of people that are having success with that, and Brad and Trevor are two of them. They're writing over Zoom. They can do that. I tried it, and it was not for me for all of the reasons that you just said. I just can't, like. There's a little lag, in the timing of things, and it becomes awkward, and you can't like really feed off of each other like you can in the room. So for me, I was just like, I'm fortunate enough that I've gotten to a place in my career that I don't necessarily need to write another song. I will write when I want to and how I want to. And so I've been writing a lot by myself.
Wait, are you telling me you're a one-man band right now? Please say.
I'm oddly a one-man band.
Okay, that leads me to...
I still don't want to be.
Okay, good. That's what I was going to say. I was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare even put that out there, because everybody's looking like, what? Tell me about the Christmas song. Where did that come from, and why decide to put that out?
That was product, again, of me writing by myself and just was feeling it. And I wasn't writing something that I thought would ever be heard by other people. It was just written for me. And then it just kind of, the opportunity arose for me to maybe put it out. And it was really because one of the shows that we do every year is a songwriter show, and it's in my hometown. And Shane McAnally joins me, Josh Osborne, Trevor Rosen, Matt Jenkins, all these big, songwriters now. When we started it, none of us were big songwriters, but we go back to my hometown and raise money and help feed people or help, supply musical instruments or whatever. And that show was canceled, and it was just a way for me to get something out there to benefit this year, that cause. So figured, why not give it a shot?
That's good. That's amazing. I got the news with the Grammy noms, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, how cool that in a year where you couldn't tour, you put, you've got the album out, you've got all these amazing songs. You guys were killing it in 2020 without ever even being on the road.
Yeah.
How strange did that feel? Because you've been grinding for so many years and working at it for so long, and then it's like, oh, ACMs and CMT Awards, and here we are now. We got Grammy nominations. Like, how does that all come about?
Very, very strange, because typically the way we celebrate those things is with our fans at the shows. We make a big deal, and we have fun with them because they're the only reason that we're having all this stuff. And so now it's kind of like, these accolades start coming in 2020, and we're like, woo, wish we could celebrate this the way we normally do. So, it's been very, we've been very fortunate that all of that is happening in 2020, because otherwise, we gauge our success by our shows usually, and how we can see our music living and breathing in towns all over the world. And that was taken away. So this was a nice supplement of like, hey, you guys are still doing a good job.
Doing a great job. Some people do. When I heard the song, I was like, man, this is incredible song. Tell me the backstory of it. Give me some details of it and how that song came to life.
Yeah, that song was the second song that we wrote that day. It was myself and Shane McAnally, Jesse Frazier, and Thomas Rhett actually, and we wrote one song, and we were sort of packing up our stuff to go, and we were having some conversation about, I don't know, we were, me and TR were just kind of talking about touring and all this stuff and all the like county fairs that you have to play and all this stuff as you're coming up through. And, somebody was like, does anybody really like playing those things? And I said, well, some people do. And Thomas Rhett just went, man, that's a cool title. And he sat down at the piano, played a chord on the piano, and said, some people quit drinking too much. And we all went, oh my God. It was like, even now I get like chills thinking about how just those words hit me and the emotions that it opened up inside me. And we proceeded to write and cry for about an hour and a half. And that song came out, and we knew it was special. Both TR and I were both like, man, one of us has to put this out. So whoever is going to record first has first crack at it. And at first he was going to record it. And I was super happy with that. And then it fell off of his project. And so we did.
Because now he's got to be like, cool, that song that we wrote together and you guys got Grammy noms on it.
Right. He's doing all right. He's doing it. He gets the Grammy nom too.
He's fine. He's fine. So when you were writing it, you said you got really emotional. What was it about that, or that premise of the song, that hit you, that really spoke to who you are and what's happening with you?
I mean, for me personally, there's a lot of layers. Honestly, there certainly is the alcoholism, that part of it that runs in my family that I can certainly identify with. But on a bigger level, I was sort of feeling, I think at that time, that I was not living up to the person that I wanted to be. And, I was certainly making choices that I didn't like, and felt like maybe I was disappointing, people that loved me. And I really wanted to change that. The very next day, not to get too deep, but the very next day after we wrote that song, I texted a friend and said, I need a therapist. I need some help, because it really opened up a lot of things for me that I needed to work through, and I had never been in therapy before. And so that song sort of kicked me into this gear where I needed to discover some things and work on some things, and thankful for that. So yeah, it's a heavy song for me, and also a hopeful one at the same time.
But you know what? I think that's why it resonates so well with so many people, because it definitely hit you, but it hit all of us the same way. I mean, the minute that I heard it, I was like, okay, you hear it in your voice, you hear it in the performance, you hear it in the lyrics. I mean, that's why.
I think sometimes as an artist, you get a little scared to put yourself out there, because you feel alone in some of your feelings sometimes as a person, not necessarily as an artist. But, once you do kind of put it out there, you immediately get that feedback of people that are like, oh my God, me too. And so, all the stories that we've gotten about that song have been just really a huge blessing and helpful for me.
Isn't it cool how the song always finds the way? Like that was supposed to be your song.
Totally. And also, we put that song out as a single, and, we'd had a pretty good track record of big radio hits, and that we knew that song was a risk, and it did not become a big radio hit. And, it sort of started as a songwriter, you start to go like, maybe it wasn't what I thought it was. And then the Grammy nominations come through, and you're like, I knew it was.
You're like, I knew it. Never mind what I was doubting. It's fine. Um, Gosh, I was looking back, so many amazing things on the road, and I always think about Boston and like how that really became like second home for you guys when you were
Right.
playing Boston, and how you always had the same dressing room, and seeing that crowd and missing out on something like that. Like there were
Yeah.
some really big high points that I know you guys look forward to each and every year. Are you planning to try to do some stuff in 2021? What does that even look like? What's the landscape like for you?
We're trying, I mean, we're definitely kind of at the mercy of the vaccine, I think, and it's really tough for artists that I think are, we've definitely reached a level where we're okay right now,
Mm.
but really tougher on the artists that were really trying to break through, and that really you need the road. And for me, I have to kind of keep reminding myself sometimes artists at our level take a year off and it's okay, so I think we're all right. But I think, we are definitely trying to figure out ways to get out there, because we do need it. And I think people need live music. So, I feel pretty optimistic about the back half of the year, maybe looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and watching, I think everybody's kind of taking cues too from some of the bigger, Kenny. Like, all right, is Kenny going to do anything in 2021? I mean, I don't think he is. So
Right.
I think everyone's trying to gauge what that feels like, but also what the comfort level is. So, like for you guys, have you been able to perform at all? Have you done the Opry or anything that's been in front of a crowd?
No, no, we have not performed in front of anyone. So we've done a couple like pre-taped, filming things, and even that is like a couple camera guys, and we're like playing to the camera guys, But yeah, we haven't really gotten to perform for anyone. So it's been, I mean, we're coming up on a year since we've played for anyone. So it's going to sneak up on us pretty quick here.
What's it going to be like the next time that you guys actually get to perform in front of a crowd?
we have a term. We have a term in the band, that we used to use when we were trying, like when we were playing clubs a lot, and it's called leaf blower. And that's when we're just so excited that we just go blah, and we play everything hard and loud and fast, and typically crowds don't like that. So I imagine we're gonna leaf blow it a little bit. It's just when you turn it on and it just goes like good.
You're at a solid 11 the entire show.
We're gonna leaf blower the whole thing.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. You know what? There's a story you told me, and I would love for you to tell it again because I can't remember all of the details. But you told me just about how the whole relationship between Kenny Chesney and Shane McAnally and you guys, and how it all came full circle with Shane putting out the song that Kenny then picks up. And like how does that all come together? Because it's so beautiful and it's so amazing to know that the connections that happen in this town run way
Yeah.
deeper than we ever realize.
I mean, starting with Shane, Shane and myself and Trevor really were writing a lot of songs together. When none of us had any success, he was starting to get a little bit of action. I think he had a Leanne Womack song, and we used to, just kind of meet at each other's house and write. And he started to get a little action, and then he played us the demo for this song called "Somewhere with You," and we were like, "Wow, that's next level." You could just feel that was a next level song. And he was like, "Yeah, Chesney's gonna cut it," and that like just sent him into the stratosphere. That song and our little group of writers was, us and Josh Osborne and Matt Jenkins, and it's sort of like suddenly one of us graduated and he was like holding the door for us going, come on through, and so he then gets this relationship with Kenny and we're all writing and starting to have this success. And if it wasn't for that song and Shane writing that song, there was just, this whole thing would not have happened. There's just no way. So like when we're standing on stage watching Kenny play, he plays that song and we're just like, this is the one. We didn't, write it, but we're just like, this is why we're here. And then we get to later write a song, for him, and Save It for Rainy Day becomes this big hit. Just crazy how it all works out.
It's amazing that you manifested all this. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's funny you say that, but like I remember we were having a number one party. It was for Break Up With Him.
Yeah, I know I said it, but I'll say it again. I know you ain't in love with him, break up with him.
I had a bunch of family coming to town, and my uncle, I was riding in the car, my uncle was driving, and he said, "Man, Matt, did you ever imagine this happened?" And I went, "Yeah." Yeah, I had to. Like, yes, I absolutely did imagine this happening. I had to, or else I would have gone home. So, yeah, you have to like manifest it for sure.
So what does 2021's dream board look like?
I just like, I would take 10 shows. I want 10 good shows out of 2021. And I know I cannot wait for everyone to hear the new music. I was listening to it just the other day, and it got me really excited. So we made some good stuff.
So is this going to be an album where we listen and we're like, oh my gosh, total departure for Old Dominion, more acoustic? I mean, is there like a lot of banjo? Give me some kind of like, what am I expecting?
Some acoustic stuff. There is a good bit of acoustic stuff in there. I don't think it's going to be a shock that it's us. It's definitely Old Dominion for sure. But it's definitely an interesting snapshot of who we are as a band at that moment, because those songs were created right then and there. There was no premeditated, thoughts going into it. It was just like, boom, song. One day we walked in, you asked who was cooking dinner. We walked in and Kelsey was cooking a Hawaiian themed dinner. And we were like, oh, let's write a song called Hawaii. And we wrote this whole song called Hawaii, and it's one of our favorite ones. So, it just it's such a natural project. It feels very in the moment, and it feels very joyous and fun. And I don't think anybody's going to be like, who is this?
I can't wait. Hey, congratulations on the Grammy nominations. I'm very excited to watch that and on all the good stuff. I love catching up with you, man. That's awesome.
I know. Let's do it again.
It's so good talking to you. Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys very soon. Matthew Ramsey, everybody from Old Dominion. If you haven't been listening to their last album, what are you doing? You need to immediately go do it. So many incredible songs on there. Make It Sweet, one-man band. Some people do. And the new one, Never Be Sorry. So make sure you're streaming it now. Tell me your favorite Old Dominion song below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell as well. And we've got more episodes of Connected with Kelly coming out very soon. Until then, make sure you're staying connected with all the people and things you love the most. Bye.